Welcome to the Daily Boogie.
The political lesson of 2017. Resistance works. Vox. Yep. Resistance works. This is our article for the Shredder this evening, ladies and gents. Trump is getting the minimum done and Republicans are paying the price for backing him, says Matthew Iglesias from Vox.com. This is interesting, straight off the bat. Political journalism naturally tends to dwell on the activities of those who hold the levers of power. But the biggest political story of 2017 was the resistance to Donald Trump. Millions of Americans, especially women, because women are special. Women are special in the resistance. Were shocked. I would have written shocked and appalled. Just to put the cherry on top, but, I'm not going to tell this guy how to suck eggs, were shocked by Donald Trump's election and substantially increased their level of political engagement and activism. That's exactly the point I made. I think in the last Periscope that we did, I said, if you're like a really, 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 really angry anti-Trumpite, okay, just say, hypothetically, you're very liberal, you're very anti-Trump, you could at least say, like for a positive, a spin positive, but a positive nonetheless, you could say that Donald Trump, thanks to Donald Trump, more people are politically active now than they've ever been before. Right? Just like you. Like, you're an activist. You want people to be activists too. You want them to be active. You want them to be engaged. You want them to be paying attention to all the little minute details that go on in, the making of sausages, so to speak. You would want that, wouldn't you? So that would be a positive that Donald Trump got elected, because now more people are engaged. Unless, big caveat here, I'm not British. Neil Cobb, I'm not British, but that's quite insulting, actually. Unless, sorry for the delay, by the way, we're working with a delay, but unless your political plans rest on a certain amount of people not being politically active and being ignorant and not paying attention to things. If your path to glory was paved with the victims of political ignorance, so you can tread across the river of political power without getting your feet wet, then you would probably hate the fact that more people are paying attention now and are politically active now. Perhaps the very people, for the last 20, 30 years who have kind of just had too much trust in their government and now have woken up and gone, wow, hang on a minute, we have to watch everything that these snakes do, because they're all stabbing us in the back. Maybe. Says the Scot. Daft Australians are just British slaves, says the Scot. You won one battle. You won one battle in like 2,000 years. I wouldn't get chirpy. And though activism has by no means stopped Trump and his Republican Party colleagues from getting things done, it has sharply mitigated the damage relative to what one might have expected on Election Day. Yes, with all the screaming and the tears, you remember, on Election Day. Oh, it's not as bad as we thought it was going to be. Great. As the new year dawns, Republicans have their tax bill, their passel of judges, and their slate of business-friendly regulators. Well, Trump's very anti-regulation for a start, so just thought I'd throw that little caveat in. But that's near the bare minimum of what one would expect. government to get done. The Affordable Care Act, though wounded, remains in place. House Speaker Paul Ryan's dream of shredding the social safety net has not yet come to pass. Gains in LGBT equality. Can I just say, this guy's obviously a bigot because he's left out about 5 letters there. At least 5. Shouldn't it be like LGBTQ and so on? So this guy's clearly like a extra letter-ophobe, if I do say so myself. Equality achieved during the Obama years have mostly been retained. Most of all, the resistance is making sure Republicans pay a price at the polls for their indulgence of Trump. Nothing is guaranteed in politics, but so far grassroots activists appear to have set the stage for a massive anti-Trump backlash in the coming midterms. I guess they're basing that off the fact that Roy Moore lost when in all the other special elections the Republicans won. And the Trump polls are the same as they were for Barack Obama after 12 months in power. But anyway, reading that story, the resistance is working. Good job, guys. You're doing great. You know, that's kind of what it's like to me. Let me just turn this down a little bit. This music is very Benny Hill, isn't it? Maybe that's appropriate. I don't know. You know, keep at it, guys. You're doing super. Keep resisting. That's basically, it's like a pep rally in article form from Vox, which is fine. You know, I don't care. I read everything, but my mind couldn't help wander to this.
But they call themselves the resistance. You ever see these signs? Resist, resist. I love these guys. Look at these guys. Blacks for Trump. I love you. I love you. I love you. By the way, now that you bring it up, black home ownership just hit the highest level it's ever been in the history of our country. Congratulations. Oh, these resistors resist. Hillary resisted, and you know what happened?
I don't know about you, but he seems really upset about this resistance movement, doesn't he? Like, he seems really, like, you know, this is really getting to him. The resistance works, as Vox tells us. You know, that's the lesson from 2017. If that's the only lesson from 2017, then you have missed the point entirely. Vox? Ardent liberal Democrat anti-Trumpers, if you think the lesson gained from 2017 is, quote, resistance works, if you think that's it, the political lesson, then you are, like, way off the mark. Like, I don't even know where to begin. We need to get you into, like, a special school kind of environment, you know, where they play catch-up, where they sit you down and, like, okay, forget about verbs and nouns and adjectives. Let's just try and remember what each letter means. How you spell basic words. Then eventually, like after 7 or 8 years of very focused, very dedicated hard work by you and your tutor, then we can get to the point in 2027, we'll get to this point, what the political lesson of 2017 was and why it wasn't resistance works. But that's perhaps by the by. Yeah, everyone learns at their own pace. Thank you, Common Core.
Resistors resist. Hillary resisted, and you know what happened? She lost the election in a landslide. But you know what they're really resisting? They're resisting the will of the American people. That's what they're resisting.
Oh, we haven't heard that one for a while.
Look, it's being proven we have a rigged system. Doesn't happen so easy. But this system, going to be a lot of changes. This is a rigged This is a rigged system. This is a sick system from the inside. And, you know, there's no country like our country, but we have a lot of sickness in some of our institutions, and we're working very hard. We've got a lot of them straightened out, but we really do. We have a rigged system in this country, and we have to change it. Terrible. Terrible.
Terrible, terrible, terrible.
They're resisting progress. They're resisting change because the only thing they really care about is protecting what they've been able to do, which is really control the country and not to your benefit. By the way, wages starting to go up. First time in 20 years starting to go up. That's all going to happen. That's all going to happen. That's all going to happen. That's just a part of what's going on. But I'm going to do something better than that. We're going to have choice. Now, we have choice in education now. We're starting that, right? And I thought of it the other day. We're going to have choice in jobs so that you don't have one job and hang on even though you don't like it. You're going to have choice where you can take 5 jobs, 6 jobs, 7 jobs, pick the one you like at the most money. That's what's starting to happen because the jobs are coming in.
Oh, but alas, Mr. Trump, I believe you are mistaken, sir. I believe you are mistaken, sir. It is, in actuality, in reality, it is literally the end of the world. Take it away, Nancy.
Democrats talk about this bill often in very apocalyptic
Take it
terms,
away, you spring chicken.
Really what's going on is that many people are getting a very modest tax cut, and some people are getting a tax increase, while a lot of this is also going to business, but it's not the end of the world.
No, it is the end of the world. This
It is the end of the world. Maybe you can't hear the reporter too clear because it's a little bit quiet, but he's like, don't you think it would be better just to explain, you know, be honest and say this is kind of like a really modest sort of tax decrease, and, you know, a certain amount of people will perhaps be better off, instead of pretending like it's the end of the world. And she goes, no, it is the end of the world. It just like bounces straight into rhetoric. So.
And some people are getting a tax increase, while a lot of this is also going to business, but it's not the end of the world.
No, it is the end of the world. This healthcare, the debate on
Sorry,
healthcare
I'm mistaken. She didn't say it is the end of the world. She said, no, it is the end of the world. She didn't say it's the end of the world. She said, no, it is the end of the world.
No, it is the end of the world. This
End of
healthcare, the
world.
debate on healthcare is
It is
like...
the end of the world.
No, it is the end of the world. This healthcare...
See, it is the end of the world. She turned into Sergeant Schultz, ladies and gentlemen. That's the power of Trump. He literally turns Democrats into Nazis.
A lot of this is also
Comical
going to
ones,
business, but
jolly
it's not
ones.
the end of the world.
No, it is the end of the world. This healthcare, the debate on healthcare is life, death. This is Armageddon.
Armageddon.
This is a very big deal because you know why? There's really a very hard way to come back from this.
Oh yeah,
They
you're
take
telling
us
us.
fur-
You're telling us, Nancy. I mean, if all those people in the Rust Belt states, all of those people that you ignored and called racists and bigots and deplorables and all of that stuff, if they just happen to, you know, get gainful employment and start making more money, and they see things improving in their local community, in their workplace, then it will be the end of the world for you.
A very hard way to come back from this. They take us
a long way
further,
back.
more deeply into debt. What can you do but raise taxes? They contend that they're a gift.
To be fair, unless proven otherwise, and, you know, guys, please invite your liberal friends. I'd be more than happy to debate these things. See, it's beautiful because I have an Australian accent. Most people think like I'm a complete idiot and a slave and a convict. So that's the way I like it. But, you know, I'd be more than happy to see the last time the Democrat Party advocated, you know, big tax cuts. And I'd be more than happy to see the last time the Democrat Party, when asked for a solution, said anything other than raise taxes. Just out of curiosity. If someone can bring that info, please do.
To corporate America of $1.5 trillion, could be up to $1.5 trillion, will be paid for by the growth it creates. And even their own people say, nonsense, not true, not true. So let's be truthful with the American people about that. They throw a few crumbs to the middle class. What they give with one hand, they take away in bounty with the other.
Look, I don't want to be particularly hard on Nancy. I think she's had a pretty tough life. You know, she's had a tough life. But, you know, this she really talks to people like she's talking to infants. They take from one hand, they give from the other. And she does like the exaggerated hand movements and stuff. At least Trump just gives a white power signal. At least that's all he does. He doesn't do a whole... I mean, she's like a French mime. If you put like white paint on her face and a black beret on her hat and a striped shirt on her, you could park her out in Main Street and throw a hat on the ground and people would throw change into it.
They throw a few crumbs to the middle class. What they give with one hand, they take away in bounty with the other. And why? Because it is in their DNA to give tax cuts to the rich. That's their purpose in coming
DNA.
to Congress. The only reason it isn't the end of the world is because America is a great country. And the greatness of America and the fact that God is always with us.
Oh, God, we're now invoking God. And look at her looking straight at the camera. Look at that. Perfect pause, ladies and gentlemen. God is always with us, and she looks straight at the camera. With that sprightly, effervescent, forever youthful exuberance. God is always with us, and she looks at the camera like, did I just say that? I'm sorry, Dark Lord.
It gives us hope, but it's very important for the American people to know how adversely they will be personally affected by all of this.
Yeah, so that's Nancy Pelosi saying it's literally the end of the world if the tax bill passes. We just discussed, ladies and gentlemen, Fritzer, it's always a pleasure to see your little avatar there. Thanks for joining us. We just discussed that Vox is now saying that the political lesson of 2017 is, quote, resistance works. So we just thought we'd investigate, does resistance work? We just played Donald Trump laughing at the whole concept, pretty much showing that he doesn't particularly care. And how much does resistance work, ladies and gentlemen? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is the protest that Nancy Pelosi had planned straight after she said that the tax bill is the end of the world, straight after Vox said resistance works.
Behind me, but Allie, these protests have never been like what we saw with the healthcare law. This particular protest was supposed to start at 3, supposed to feature Nancy Pelosi, and supposed to have hundreds of people, and none of those things are going to end up being true. So there has been this protest effort to stop this and slow it down, but it is increasingly likely that the passage of this tax bill is more or less a foregone conclusion at this point, as long as there's not some other surprise defection here in the next 24 hours.
All right, so even with John McCain...
There you go. So, you know, it's the end of the world. Resistance works. Nobody shows up to the protest. And I think we discussed, what does the resistance accomplish? Big fat zero? Yeah, but they've accomplished other things. They sold a lot of pink hats, I think you'll find, which is great for the economy. You know, a lot of cardboard manufacturers and, you know, stick manufacturers, they're probably in cahoots when they sell to Democrats, I think. The cardboard guys and the stick guys, the wood guys, I imagine they work together. They probably jack up prices. You know, a lot of people are going to be wanting placards this weekend. Let's just boost the price up just a touch. You know, take advantage. Take advantage. Capitalism at its finest. But, you know, that's the lesson. The end of the world. The end of the world went through without a hitch, apparently. And the lesson from 2017 is the end of the world was remarkably, you know, unpatronized. There was very few people through the turnstiles to go to the end of the world protest march.